بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Inshallah, today we'll talk about some of the lessons that we can learn from Surah Al-Kahf. The surah that was started, it was recited part of it last night and it was completed tonight. There are many different things we can learn from this surah, and even if I just try to cover one of the stories mentioned in this surah, it will take much longer than 10 minutes. So I will just talk about more about the lessons that we can learn from the inshallah. First of all, the surah was revealed before the Sahaba first migrated to Habasha, which means that it was revealed during the times when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sahaba were going through many different kinds of hardships because of the way Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was spreading the da'wah in the Mecca. And this surah it talks about 4 different stories, and I will talk just briefly about 3 of them, which is one is about the Ashab al-Kahf. Second story is about Khidr or Khadr, the different pronunciation, which is not, the name is not mentioned in the Quran, rather it is mentioned in the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In the Quran, it's just mentioned as a righteous slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the third story is about the Dhul Qarnayn. When it comes to Ashab al-Kahf, it is very relevant for the Sahaba in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as well, because Ashab al-Kahf in the story as mentioned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, these were the people, the youth who were following the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they were given very difficult times from their own people, even though they were the children of the elites of the society. Because they did not follow their deen, they turned against them, and they said they seek refuge from those people, and they went away. So they kind of migrated away to protect their deen, and that was one of the lesson for the Sahaba as well, or to learn from the story of Ashab al-Kahf, that the difficulties that Sahaba were facing because of the deen that they were following, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made them a way to protect their deen, and hence the Sahaba did migrate to Habasha to protect their deen, because they could not tolerate the different kinds of hardship that they were going through. So that's one of the story that's mentioned in the Surah Al-Kahf. Second one, which is mentioned, is about the Khidr, and that story starts off like this: that as one of the hadith Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam talks about, that the Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, he was once addressing the Bani Israel, and he was mentioning that is there anybody who is more knowledgeable than him, and Allah Azza wa Jal wanted to show him that there are other slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who have different kinds of knowledge than what Musa was carrying. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him to go and meet that slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which was the Khidr or Khadr. And again, we will not go into detail, but the story talks about things that Khidr did. And before he did in front of Musa alayhi salam, he told him, okay, you can learn from me as long as you stay patient and you don't question what I am doing. Meaning, because he was doing the things because of the knowledge Allah gave. Khidr was doing the action, but Allah gave him the knowledge. So first they start traveling, and while they took the boat to cross the river, after they done that, it was a good boat, and Khidr made a hole in it. Now Musa alayhi salatu wasalam could not resist, so right away he said, "Why did you do that?" And the response of Khidr was again was to him that, look, I told you will not be patient with me, and if you continue to be like this, we're gonna go to 2 different ways. They moved forward, and then they met a child. He was playing with other child, and Khidr went ahead and he killed him. Now Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, according to his knowledge, what Allah gave him, he looked at it as if there's something wrong has happened. He could not resist. Again he said, why did you kill an innocent boy? And upon which Khidr said again, look, I told you, you will not be able to resist, hence we have to separate from each other. Now Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, he said that he forgot about that, and he started begging basically, and he said he wanted to be with him. And he said they continued on, and they moved on, and they reached a village over there, the people who were supposed to take care of them, that's part of customs that if there's a guest coming in or there's some traveler, you take care of them. And they did not perform any kind of the things that you're supposed to do with the guests. So now Musa and Khidr, they saw there was a wall which was crooked and was going to fall. So now Khidr went ahead and he started straightening the wall. And he straightened the wall and did not ask for any kind of a reward in return. Now Musa again said, why did you do that? You could have asked for money. These guys did not take care of us while they were supposed to. Now Khidr said, look, now we have to separate away from each other because you were not able to be patient. Patient meaning that here he had to continue to not ask the questions because that was the deal here. And he was a righteous slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was not breaking the laws because there was a knowledge that was given to him that Musa did not have. So Khidr had a different knowledge. And then Khidr, alayhi salam, he gave him the answers about what happened. Why did he do that? And the reasons were valid reasons that he gave, that why he performed those actions. And I would really ask everyone to go and read about the story. But anyways, now the third story is about Dhul Qarnayn, because Dhul Qarnayn was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he was a king. He was one who has the authority Allah Azza wa Jalla gave him on the earth from east to west. He was a much powerful person, but he was a slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he was a thankful servant of Allah Azza wa Jal, and Allah gave him the authority on the earth to show the Quraysh as well, because they're the one who came and asked some questions, and one of the questions was about Dhul Qarnayn. So he told, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned about Dhul Qarnayn, how powerful he was. Meaning, now from these three stories, what we can learn is this, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is showing to us here, and this is just some of the lessons. Obviously, there are too many lessons you can gain out of them. But the main big lessons that we can learn from them is, first of all, in the deen of, when we follow in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there can be hardships can come in our way. And we should not give up. We continue on the right path without changing anything that Allah has revealed to us. And even for that, if we have to move away from the place we are at, we are not able to perform the ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we move away to the place where we can. This is number one from Ashabul Kahf we can learn. Number two, from the Khidr story and Musa. That shows that sometimes you see things, they look very negative, or the things Allah Azza wa Jalla has commanded us to do, we may not see the immediate positive results that we expect to be positive. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the best, that what is behind the action Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks us to perform. So as the slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have to continue to do what the right thing is, even though the whole world may turn against us, but we still have to do what Allah has commanded us. Third thing from Dhul Qarnayn we can learn, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the end gives the authority to his slaves. So let's not be hopeless by looking at the situation in the world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised us to, Allah will give the Muslims the authority over the earth, so we will bring the peace for ourselves and for the mankind. Okay, now at the end, inshallah, in the last minute or so, I want to remind one more thing. This surah has a lot of blessings also. As one of the hadith Rasulullah says, Man hafidha 10 ayatin min awwali surah al-kahf usima min ad-dajjal. Whosoever memorizes the first 10 ayat of the Surah al-Kahf, he will be protected from Dajjal. Another hadith talks about the last khawatim, the last part of the Surah al-Kahf memorized, he will be protected from Dajjal. Another hadith that says that whosoever recites Surah al-Kahf every Friday, right? If anyone memorizes 10 verses, that's one thing, right? Second is first 10 ayat and last 10 ayat. And the third thing is, if a person recites Surah al-Kahf, Allah will illuminate a light between each Friday that he is reciting. Okay, now the question that comes in our mind is that, look, we are reciting the surah on a weekly basis. Many of us recite Surah al-Kahf. Let's ponder on these things. This will strengthen our iman on the things that we are doing. So we will not be shaken, because the more we recite things, and mashallah, the Huffaz are reciting the Quran on a daily basis here, they know that to really memorize and retain it, they have to do it again and again. So now when we understand what we're doing also, can you imagine the impact of that on the Ummah? That people in the Ummah, how many people are reciting Surah Al-Kahf? In millions probably, on every Friday. And some of them probably on the other days as well. But can you imagine that we always refresh these goals in our mind, that we have to stick with the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And even if that causes trouble and we have to migrate, we'll migrate from one place to another place. And the things may not look apparently good for us when we're following the commands of Allah, but we have to still stick with it. And finally, we will get the authority on the earth as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised, as Allah has done in the past.